The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor of the banquet hall, and every head in the room turned toward me. But I wasn't looking at them. I was staring at my husband, Chukwuemeka, whose hand was frozen mid-caress on another woman's thigh beneath the white linen tablecloth. What would you do if you walked in on this? Hit like if you've been betrayed, and comment below where you're watching from. Adanna, he said, standing so quickly his chair scraped against the polished floor. His voice carried that same smooth tone he'd used when proposing me 5 years ago in front of the lagoon. This is what it looks like. But it was exactly what it looked like. His cousin's wedding reception at the prestigious Eco Hotel in Lagos had been beautiful, until I'd returned from the restroom to find my husband's fingers tangled with those in Ngozi, my own best friend since university. The woman who'd been my maid of honor. The woman who'd held my hand through 2 miscarriages. Don't. I whispered, holding up my hand. My entire body trembled, but my voice came out cold as ice water. Don't you dare insult me with lies. Ngozi had the decency to look away, smoothing down her expensive gold Ankara dress. Around us, 300 wedding guests had gone silent. Chukwuemeka's mother, Mama Nkechi, rose from the family table, her elaborate Geli headdress wobbling with indignation. "Adanna, you are making a scene at your cousin-in-law's wedding," she hissed, rushing toward me. "Whatever this is about, it can wait until we get home. You are disgracing this family." "I'm disgracing the family?" I laughed, and the sound was harsh even to my own ears. "Your son has his hand on my best friend's thigh, and I'm the disgrace?" Chukwuemeka grabbed my arm. "Keep your voice down. You're embarrassing yourself." I yanked free, and in that moment, something inside me crystallized. This wasn't the first time. The late nights at the office, the unexplained charges on our credit card, the way he'd stopped touching me after the second miscarriage, as if I'd become something broken and disposable. "How long?" I asked, looking between them. Ngozi finally met my eyes. "Adanna, please." "How long?" The DJ had stopped the music. 300 pairs of eyes watched us like we were the evening's entertainment. The bride was crying. The groom looked mortified. But I didn't care any more about any of it. 2 years, Chukwuemeka said flatly. "Are you satisfied now?" 2 years. And honestly, Adanna, if you'd been more of a wife to me after... He didn't get to finish. His brother, Obiora, stepped between us. "Chukwuemeka, that's enough. This is not the place." "No, let him finish," I said, my voice deadly calm. "Let him tell everyone here how I failed him. Let him explain to your family how my inability to carry his child to term made him so miserable he had to seek comfort in my best friend's bed." Mama Nkechi's face went pale. She hadn't known about the affair, I realized. None of them had known. "You will not speak to my son this way," she said, but her voice wavered. "Your son is a cheating, manipulative liar who has been stealing from our joint account to pay for hotel rooms and expensive dinners while telling me we needed to save money." I pulled out my phone, hand shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I have 6 months of bank statements. I have text messages. I have restaurant receipts from places he told me he'd never been. I'd found them yesterday. All of them. While looking for our marriage certificate to update my passport, I discovered a second phone hidden in his office drawer. Everything had been there. The affair, the lies, the carefully constructed double life. "Adanna, if you show those..." Chukwuemeka reached for my phone, but I stepped back. "If I show them, what? You'll divorce me? Take everything?" "You've already taken everything that mattered." The room was so quiet I could hear traffic from the streets of Victoria Island outside. Somewhere in the back, someone's phone camera clicked. Tomorrow, this would be all over Lagos social media. The humiliation would be complete. But as I looked at Chukwuemeka's face, not apologetic, not remorseful, but angry that I'd expose him, something cold and clear settled over me. He thought I was broken. He thought I had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. He thought I would slink away quietly, too ashamed to fight back. He didn't know me at all. "I'm going to my sister's house," I said quietly. "I'll be back for my things tomorrow. Don't try to stop me. If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back," Mama Nkechi said. "You will be dead to this family." I looked at her, this woman I'd called Mama for 5 years, who'd never truly accepted me because I came from a smaller family, because my bride price hadn't been expensive enough, because I'd failed to give her grandchildren. Then I'm dead, I said. I walked through that silent crowd with my head high, even though every step felt like walking through broken glass. Behind me, I heard Ngozi start to cry. I heard Chukwuemeka curse. I heard the whisper starting, the scandal blooming like poison flowers in rich soil. But I didn't look back. I made it to my car, a small Honda I bought with my own teaching salary, the only thing fully in my name, before the tears came. My phone was already buzzing with messages. I turned it off, started the engine, and drove out of the parking lot. I didn't know it then, but that night was the beginning, not the end. The humiliation Chukwuemeka had dealt me in front of his entire family was about to pale in comparison to what was coming, because I wasn't the broken, desperate woman he thought I was. And my revenge was not what they expected. What did you think of Adanna's reaction? Comment your thoughts on the betrayal. If you're loving the story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what Adanna does next. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments below. The next chapter is coming soon, and trust me, things are about to get intense. My sister Kamar's apartment in Ikoyi smelled like jollof rice and ginger tea when I arrived past midnight. Mascara streaked down my face, and my hands still shaking. She took one look at me standing in her doorway and pulled me inside without a word. "He did it again, didn't he?" she said, guiding me to her couch. "I told you 3 months ago something was wrong." I nodded, unable to speak. Kamar had always seen through Chukwuemeka's charm. From the beginning, she'd warned me that a man from a wealthy Lagos family who chose a village teacher's daughter didn't do so out of love alone. But I'd been 26 and stupid with romance, convinced that our connection was special. It was Ngozi. I finally managed, at his cousin's wedding, in front of everyone. Kamara's face went hard. That snake. I never trusted her either. She disappeared into the kitchen and returned with a glass of whiskey. "Drink this, then tell me everything." So I did. I told her about finding the phone, about the 2 years of lies, about the bank statements showing thousands of naira spent on hotels, jewelry, dinners, all while Chukwuemeka told me we couldn't afford fertility treatments I desperately wanted, about how his mother had told me I was dead to the family, as if I were the one who destroyed everything. "The worst part," I whispered, "is that part of me still wants to go back. Part of me wants to apologize, to beg him to choose me, to—" "Stop." Kamar gripped my shoulders. "That's the trauma talking, Adanna. You've spent 5 years being told you're not enough. But you are. You're more than enough. Then why does it hurt so much? Because you loved him. But love isn't supposed to destroy you, sister. Love isn't supposed to make you small." I stayed awake most of that night. Scrolling through messages flooded my phone once I turned it back on. Most were from people who'd been at the wedding. Some sympathetic, many gleefully spreading gossip. Chukwuemeka had sent 17 messages, progressing from angry to apologetic to threatening. "You made me look like a fool in front of my entire family. I'm sorry. We can work through this. Come home. If you don't return by Monday, I'm changing the locks. Everything in that house is mine." I screenshot every single message. By Sunday morning, I'd made a decision. I called my cousin Femi, who worked as a lawyer in a boutique firm in Lekki. He'd offered to help me years ago when Chukwuemeka first started showing his true colors, but I'd been too proud, too hopeful, too convinced I could fix my marriage. "Adanna," he said when he answered, "I heard what happened. Everyone in Lagos has heard. I need your help, Femi. I want a divorce. And I want to take him for everything he's worth." There was a pause. "Everything. Everything. The house is in both our names. I insisted on that when we bought it, even though his mother threw a fit. My salary paid half the mortgage for 5 years. I want my share. I want half of everything we built together, while he was building a life with my best friend. Do you have evidence of the affair?" Texts, photos, bank statements, and 300 witnesses from last night. Femi's voice grew excited. "Okay, this is Good. Better than good. In court, we can argue dissipation of marital assets. He spent joint funds on the affair. We can also push for spousal support since you sacrificed your career advancement to support his business expansion. Did you sign a prenup? No. He wanted one, but I refused. It was one of our biggest fights. Thank God for that. Listen, Adanna, if we play this right, you won't just walk away with half. You'll walk away with everything that matters. But you need to be prepared. He's going to fight dirty. His family has money and connections. Let him fight. I'm done being afraid. Monday morning. I drove to the house in Lekki Phase 1 that Chukwuemeka and I had bought 3 years ago. Our dream home, with its high walls and manicured garden, and the nursery I painted yellow for a baby that never came. I half expected to find the locks changed despite Femi's warning that doing so would be illegal, but the keys still worked. The house was empty. Chukwuemeka was at work. He kept obsessive hours at his logistics company, or at least that's what he'd always told me. Now I wondered how many of those late nights had been spent with Ngozi. I moved through the rooms methodically, photographing everything with my phone. The designer furniture we'd bought together, the artwork I'd chosen, the joint investment documents in his office safe. I'd memorized the combination years ago, back when he still pretended I was a partner in our life. In the bedroom, I found a gift box hidden under the side of the bed. Inside was a diamond bracelet. Expensive, delicate, nothing like the practical gifts Chukwuemeka had given me. The card read, "To mine Ngozi, for putting up with me. Forever yours, Emeka." My hands trembled as I photographed it. More evidence. More proof that while I'd been grieving our lost babies and trying to hold our marriage together, he'd been building forever with someone else. I was in the kitchen, boxing up my grandmother's china, when I heard the front door open. "I knew you'd come crawling back," Chukwuemeka's voice echoed through the house. Ready to apologize for embarrassing me? He appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in his work clothes, looking exhausted but defiant. Behind him stood his mother and his brother Obiora. "I'm not apologizing for anything," I said calmly, continuing to wrap the teacups in newspaper. "I'm collecting my belongings. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce proceedings." "Divorce?" Mama Nkechi laughed, a harsh sound. "You think you could divorce my son? You, who came from nothing. You should be grateful he married you at all." "Mama, please." Obiora said quietly, "This isn't helping." "She needs to know her place." Mama Nkechi continued. "Chukwuemeka made a mistake. Yes, but men make mistakes. A good wife forgives. A good wife works to keep her husband satisfied, so he doesn't have to look elsewhere. A good husband doesn't cheat on his wife while she's dealing with miscarriages." I said, my voice sharp as a blade. "A good husband doesn't steal from their joint account. A good husband doesn't humiliate his wife in public and then blame her for his choices." Chukwuemeka stepped forward. "You want to talk about the house? The car you're driving? The lifestyle I gave you? None of that would exist without my money, without my family's connections. You were a nobody teacher making 150,000 naira a month when I met you, and I put every naira of my salary into this house while you spent our joint funds on hotel rooms of your mistress." I shot back. "I have the bank statements to prove it. I have everything, Chukwuemeka. Every lie, every transaction, every text message you thought you deleted." His face went pale. "You went to my phone? I found your second phone. The one hidden in your office. The one with all the messages to Ngozi talking about how pathetic I was, how desperate, how you were only staying with me until you figure out how to leave without losing money in a divorce." The silence in the kitchen was absolute. "You have no right," he started. "I have every right. I'm your wife. Or, at least, I was." I picked up my box of china. "My lawyer will file the papers tomorrow. I'm claiming half of everything. The house, your business assets, the investment accounts. And I'm claiming spousal support for the emotional distress and the dissipation of marital assets." "You'll get nothing," Mama Nkechi spat. "We have lawyers, too. Better lawyers. You'll be lucky to walk away with the clothes on your back." I smiled then, and it felt like power flowing through my veins. "Your lawyers can try. But I have something you don't have, Mama. I have the truth. I have evidence. And I have 300 witnesses who saw your son's hand on my best friend's thigh at a family wedding. I walked past him toward the door, but Chukwuemeka grabbed my arm. If you go through with this, I'll destroy you, he said quietly. I'll make sure no one in Lagos ever respects you again. I'll tell everyone you were a terrible wife, that you drove me to Ngozi with your coldness, your obsession with babies you couldn't carry. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. Let go of me or I'll call the police and add assault to the list of reasons I'm divorcing you. He released me, but his eyes were full of rage. This isn't over, Adanna, he said. No, I agreed. It's just beginning. I walked out of that house with my grandmother's china and my dignity intact, not knowing that the real battle hadn't even started yet. Because that afternoon, while I was unpacking at Kamar's apartment, my phone rang. It was Femi, my lawyer cousin, and his voice was tight with concern. Adanna, we have a problem. A big one. What kind of problem? Chukwuemeka has filed a countersuit. He's claiming you're mentally unstable due to depression from the miscarriages. He's got a psychiatrist report, medical records, everything. And he's saying that in your unstable state, you're a danger to yourself and the equitable division of assets. My blood went cold. That's not possible. I never saw a psychiatrist. According to these documents, you did, 6 months ago, multiple sessions discussing violent thoughts and suicidal ideation. Femi, I swear to you I never... My voice broke. He forged them. He has to have forged them. That's what we'll argue. But Adanna, if a judge believes these documents, you won't just lose a divorce settlement. You could lose your teaching license, your freedom, everything. I sank onto Kamara's couch, the phone shaking my hand. Chukwuemeka wasn't just fighting to keep his money. He was fighting to destroy me completely. And for the first time since walking out of that wedding reception, I felt true fear. This just got real, didn't it? What do you think about Chukwuemeka's countermove? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're hooked on Adanna's story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next, because Adanna's about to make a move that changes everything. Comment below, Team Adanna, or do you think she should have handled this differently? I didn't sleep for 3 days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those forged psychiatric reports. Imagine judges reading them. Imagine my teaching colleagues whispering about my supposed mental instability. Chukwuemeka had found the one weapon that could truly destroy me. My reputation, my credibility, my word against his family's money and influence. But on the 4th morning, something shifted inside me. I was sitting in Kamar's kitchen, staring at cold coffee, when my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, this is Dr. Okonkwo from Lagoon Hospital. I heard about the psychiatric reports being used in your divorce case. I need to speak with you urgently. Those documents were not produced by anyone at our facility. My hands trembled as I called the number. Dr. Okonkwo answered on the first ring. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, I'm the head of psychiatry at Lagoon Hospital. Your husband's legal team submitted documents claiming you were treated here for severe depression and suicidal ideation. But I've checked our records thoroughly. You've never been a patient in our psychiatric department. So the documents are fake? Completely fabricated. The signature they use belongs to a Dr. Adeyemi who hasn't worked here in over a year, and the patient ID number doesn't exist in our system. This is medical fraud. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, I'm willing to testify to that fact. I could barely breathe. Why are you helping me? There was a pause. Because I have a daughter, and if someone tried to destroy her credibility this way, I'd want someone to speak up. Also, using my hospital's name for fraud damages our reputation. I'm protecting my institution as much as I'm helping you. After I hung up, I immediately called Femi. For the first time in days, I heard excitement in his voice. This changes everything, Adanna. With Dr. Okonkwo's testimony, we can prove Chukwuemeka committed fraud. That's a criminal offense. We can flip this entire case on its head. What do you need me to do? Stay quiet. Don't engage with Chukwuemeka or his family. Let me handle the legal maneuvering. But Adanna, his voice grew serious. If he's willing to forge psychiatric records, there's no telling what else he might do. Be careful. That evening, I was helping Kamara prepare dinner when someone knocked on her apartment door. Through the peephole, I saw Ngozi standing in the hallway, her face puffy from crying, looking nothing like the polished woman who betrayed me. "Don't open it," Kamara warned. But something made me unlock the door. Maybe I needed to hear what she had to say. Maybe I needed to look my former best friend in the eye and understand how she could have done this to me. Ngozi's voice cracked when she saw me. "Adanna, please. I need to talk to you." "You have 5 minutes," I said coldly, not letting her inside. She stayed in the hallway, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything. I know I destroyed everything. But I need you to know. Chukwuemeka told me you two were separating. He said your marriage was already over, that you'd agreed to divorce quietly after the wedding season. He said you just wanted to maintain appearances for a few more months." I laughed bitterly. "And you believed him?" "I wanted to believe him," she whispered. "God help me. Adanna, I fell in love with him. It started 2 years ago at your birthday party, when you were in the hospital after the second miscarriage. He was so broken, so vulnerable, and I just wanted to comfort him. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were sleeping together while I was losing our baby." The words came out like venom. "Lying to me for 2 years? Making me feel crazy when I suspected something was wrong. I'm not making excuses. What I did was unforgivable. But Adanna, you need to know something else." She glanced down the hallway nervously. "Chukwuemeka is dangerous. Since the wedding, since you left, he's been different, angry in a way that scares me. He's talking about destroying you completely, making sure you end up with nothing, that no one in Lagos will even speak your name. I already know about the forged psychiatric reports." Ngozi's eyes widened. "It's not just that. He's been calling your principal at the school, telling them you're mentally unstable and shouldn't be around children. He's been messaging your friends, your family members, spreading rumors that you try to hurt yourself. And he's planning something bigger. He met with someone yesterday, I don't know who, but I heard him on the phone talking about making sure she can't fight back and eliminating the problem permanently." Cold fear washed over me. "What are you saying, Ngozi?" "I'm saying I think he might try to hurt you, Adanna. Really hurt you. I've seen how obsessed he's become with winning this divorce, with punishing you for exposing him. His pride is wounded, and wounded pride in a man like Chukwuemeka is dangerous. Why are you telling me this? Why would you help me now?" She wiped her tears. "Because I may be a terrible friend and a worse person, but I'm not a monster. I can live with being the woman who slept with her best friend's husband. I can't live with being the woman who stayed quiet while he destroyed you, or worse. Is that supposed to make me grateful? Supposed to make us friends again? No, I know we'll never be friends again. I needed you to be careful. And I needed you to know that if you need me to testify about anything about the affair, about his behavior, I will. It's the least I can do." After Ngozi left, I sat on Kamara's couch, processing everything. My sister paced the living room, her anger palpable. "You need to go to the police," Kamara insisted. "If he's threatening you." "With what proof? Ngozi's word? She's his mistress. They'll say she's lying to help me in the divorce." "Then what do you do?" I pulled out my phone and stared at it for a long moment, thinking about everything I'd lost, everything Chukwuemeka had taken from me. Then I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in years. "I call in a favor," I said quietly, "from someone who has even more reason to hate Chukwuemeka than I do." The phone rang 3 times before a woman's voice answered, suspicious and cold. "Adanna, why are you calling me after all these years?" "Hello, Zainab," I said to Chukwuemeka's ex-girlfriend, the woman he'd left devastated 6 years ago to marry me. "I think it's time we had a conversation about the man who destroyed both our lives." There was a long silence, then a sound that might have been a laugh. "I've been waiting for this call for 6 years. When can we meet?" The next afternoon, I sat in a quiet cafe in Yaba, watching Zainab Abdullahi walk through the door. She'd aged well. Her hijab was elegant, Her business suit expensive, her eyes sharp with intelligence. She'd built a successful real estate company after Chukwuemeka broke her heart, or so I'd heard through the Lagos gossip network. "You look tired," she said, sitting across from me without preamble. "I'm getting divorced." I know. Everyone knows. The wedding scene is all over social media. She ordered a coffee from the passing waiter. "I also know he's trying to destroy you with forged medical records." I know, because he tried the same thing with me. My stomach dropped. "What?" 6 years ago, when I tried to sue him for breach of promise. He proposed, we'd set a date, then suddenly he called it off to marry you. His lawyers produced documents claiming I'd been treated for borderline personality disorder. Claimed I was obsessive, unstable, dangerous. The case fell apart because I couldn't prove the documents were fake. I didn't have the resources you apparently have now. Why didn't you warn me when he and I started dating? Zainab's laugh was bitter. Would you believe me? A jealous ex-girlfriend telling you the man you loved was a monster? You would have thought I was exactly what his documents claimed, obsessed and unstable. She was right. I wouldn't have believed her. I'd been too in love, too convinced Chukwuemeka had chosen me for real reasons, not because I was easier to control than a strong-willed businesswoman like Zainab. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "I'm sorry for what he did to you, and I'm sorry I never reached out before now." "Don't be. You were his victim too, just in a different way." She leaned forward. "But you called me for a reason. Adanna, what do you want?" "I want to know everything you know about Chukwuemeka's business dealings. Every shady transaction, every corner he's cut, every law he's bent or broken. Because I'm not just divorcing him anymore. I'm taking him down completely." Zainab smiled, and it was the smile of a woman who'd been waiting years for revenge. "Now that," she said, "I can help with." She pulled out a tablet and opened a series of files. When Chukwuemeka broke up with me, I was devastated, but I was also angry. Angry enough to do some investigating. His logistics company, it's not as legitimate as it appears. He's been running a side operation, using his legitimate business to move contraband goods, avoiding customs duties, evading taxes on millions of naira. You have proof, bank records, shipping manifests, communications with his business partners, everything. She pushed the tablet toward me. I've been holding on to this for 6 years, waiting for the right moment to use it. I think that moment is now. I stared at the documents on the screen, my heart pounding. This wasn't just ground for divorce. This was grounds for criminal prosecution. If I brought this evidence forward, Chukwuemeka wouldn't just lose our house. He'd lose his business, his reputation, possibly his freedom. "Why are you giving this to me?" I asked. "Because he deserves it. And because you have something I didn't have, the courage to fight him publicly, to expose him even when it hurts you too. I respect that." She closed the tablet. "But Adanna, you need to understand what using this information means. Chukwuemeka's family has connections with powerful people, politicians, judges, police commissioners. If you go after him with this, they'll come after you with everything they have. They're already coming after me. This will be worse. Much worse. Are you prepared for that?" I thought about the forged psychiatric reports, about Ngozi's warning, about 5 years of manipulation and betrayal, and being made to feel small and worthless. "Yes," I said, "I'm prepared." Zainab slid a flash drive across the table. "Then take this. Give it to your lawyer. And Adanna, when you bring him down, make it spectacular." I left the cafe with a flash drive burning like fire in my purse, not knowing that spectacular didn't even begin to describe what was about to happen. Because that night, while I was reviewing Zainab's evidence with Femi, my phone rang. It was my principal from the school. "Adanna, I'm so sorry," Mrs. Aladil said, her voice shaking. "The school board held an emergency meeting tonight. They've decided to place you on administrative leave pending an investigation into allegations of mental instability. But those allegations are false. The documents are forged." "I know, dear. I believe you. But the board is concerned about the school's reputation with all this divorce drama in the media. I fought for you, but I was outvoted. I'm so sorry." After I hung up, I just sat there, numb. Chukwuemeka had taken my marriage, my best friend, my home. Now he was taking my job, my career, the one thing I built entirely on my own. He's going to pay for this, Femi said quietly, looking at the flash drive. With this evidence, we can file criminal charges. We can... His phone rang, interrupting him. He answered, listened, and his face went pale. What? I asked, what is it? That was my contact at the police station. Chukwuemeka just filed a report claiming you threatened him. He's saying you showed up at his office today with a weapon, that you're dangerous and unstable, that you need to be arrested for your own safety and his. I haven't been anywhere near his office. I've been here all day. I know, but he's got security footage. Adanna. Someone who looks like you, at his office, acting erratically. The police are on their way here right now to arrest you. The room spun around me. He hadn't just forged medical records. He'd manufactured evidence of a crime I didn't commit. He was going to have me arrested, destroy my credibility so completely that nothing I said in court would matter. The knock on Kamara's door came 3 minutes later. Loud, official, terrifying. Police, open up. I looked at Femi, at Kamara, at the flash drive sitting on the table with all the evidence that could destroy Chukwuemeka if I lived long enough to use it. What do? I whispered, and Femi said the words that made my blood run cold. I don't know. Oh my God, did you see that coming? Adanna's backed into a corner now. What would you do in her situation? Smash that like button if you're on Adanna's side, and subscribe so you don't miss comes next. This story is about to get even crazier. Drop a comment. Do you think she should turn over the evidence now or wait? And have you ever dealt with someone who fought dirty like Chukwuemeka? Share your story below. The police officer stood in Kamara's doorway. 2 men in uniform, their faces hard and professional. Behind them, I could see curious neighbors peering out from their apartments, phones already raised to record whatever drama was about to unfold. Are you Mrs. Adanna Okafor Chukwuemeka? The taller officer asked. I am, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. We need you to come with us to the station. Your husband has filed a complaint that you threatened him with a weapon at his office this afternoon. We have video evidence. That's impossible. Kamara stepped forward. My sister has been here all day. I can vouch for that. Ma'am, please step aside. We have our orders. Femi pulled out his business card. I'm Mrs. Chukwuemeka's attorney. Before my client goes anywhere, I'd like to see the supposed video evidence. My client has witnesses who can confirm she was nowhere near her husband's office today. The shorter officer sighed. You can review the evidence at the station. Right now, we need Mrs. Chukwuemeka to come with us. She's not under arrest yet, but if she refuses to cooperate, that could change. My mind raced. If I went with them, they could hold me for days while investigating. Chukwuemeka would have time to hide assets, destroy evidence, build his case against me. But if I refused, I'd look guilty, and they could arrest me right here in front of all these watching neighbors. I'll come voluntarily, I said quietly, but my lawyer comes with me. Of course, the tall officer said. Let's go. At the police station in Morocco, they led me to a small interview room that smelled of sweat and desperation. Femi sat beside me as they played the security footage on a laptop. The woman in the video did look like me. Same height, same build, wearing a dress similar to one I owned. She was shouting at Chukwuemeka in what appeared to be his office lobby, waving something that might have been a knife. The footage was grainy, the woman's face partially obscured by her handbag, but it was enough to be convincing if you didn't look too carefully. That's not me, I said firmly. The timestamp shows this was recorded at 2:47 p.m. I was at home with my sister. We were reviewing documents of my divorce case. Can anyone else confirm that? The investigating officer asked. Besides your sister, who obviously wants to protect you? I can, a voice said from the doorway. We all turned to see Dr. Okonkwo from Lagoon Hospital standing there, holding a folder. I'm Dr. Okonkwo. I met with Mrs. Chukwuemeka at 2:30 p.m. today at a cafe near the hospital to discuss my testimony regarding the forged psychiatric records. We were together until 3:15 p.m. I have the cafe receipt showing both our orders, and I'm certain the cafe has security footage that will confirm her presence. The officer's face tightened with irritation. And you are... Dr. Okonkwo handed over his identification. I'm also here to file a formal complaint. The documents Mr. Chukwuemeka submitted claiming to be from my hospital are fraudulent. That's medical fraud and identity theft. I have proof that no Dr. Adeyemi matching the signature on those documents has ever worked in our psychiatric department. I stared at Dr. Okonkwo in shock. We hadn't met at 2:30 p.m. today, but he was lying for me, giving me an alibi, and I suddenly understood that he'd checked the timestamp on Chukwuemeka's fake video and created a counter-narrative. The officer looked between us, clearly frustrated. This is getting complicated. I'll need to verify all of this. While you're verifying, Femi said smoothly, I'd like you to also investigate who hired an actress to impersonate my client, because that video is clearly staged. The woman's face is conveniently obscured. The footage is poor quality despite Mr. Chukwuemeka's office having state-of-the-art security cameras. An entire instance seems designed to frame my client during contentious divorce. Are you accusing Mr. Chukwuemeka of filing a false police report? I'm saying that this needs to be investigated properly before you charge an innocent woman based on manufactured evidence. The officer closed his laptop with a snap. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, don't leave Lagos without notifying us. We'll be in touch once we completed our investigation. You're free to go for now. Outside the station, I turned to Dr. Okonkwo. Thank you. But why did you... I saw the timestamp on the video when they were reviewing it, he said quietly. And I realize you need an alibi. Consider it my way of fighting back against a man who would use my hospital's name to commit fraud. He handed me a business card. If you need me to testify about anything else, call me. I mean that. After he left, Femi drove me back to Kamara's apartment. Adanna, this is escalating faster than I expected. Chukwuemeka isn't just trying to win the divorce. He's trying to have you imprisoned or committed. We need to move now. With Zainab's evidence? With everything. I'm filing criminal complaints tomorrow. Fraud, perjury, conspiracy. And I'm taking this to the media. If we make this public enough, his family connections won't be able to bury it. But when we got back to the apartment, we found the door hanging open, the lock broken. Inside, everything was destroyed. Furniture overturned, papers scattered, Kamara's laptop smashed on the floor. No! I whispered, running to where we'd hidden the flash drive. The hiding spot was empty. They took it. They took Zainab's evidence. Kamara emerged from her bedroom, phone in hand, her face pale. I was at the market. I just got back and found this. Adanna, there's a message spray painted on my bedroom wall. We followed her. On the white wall in red paint, someone had written, Stop now or it gets worse. We need to call the police, Femi said. The same police who just tried to arrest her? Kamara's voice was sharp with fear. The same police who believed Chukwuemeka's lies? No, we need to get Adanna somewhere safe. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You should have taken the warning. Your sister's apartment was just the beginning. Drop the divorce and leave Lagos, or everyone you love will suffer. I showed him the message, my hand shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. That's it, Kamara said. You're staying somewhere else tonight. Somewhere he can't find you. But where? Chukwuemeka knew all my friends, all my family members in Lagos. He had money to hire people to watch me, to threaten me, to... My phone rang. It was Zainab. Adanna, I heard what happened at the police station. I also heard someone broke into your sister's apartment. Her voice was urgent. I know you think you've lost the evidence, but I'm not stupid. What I gave you was a copy. I have backups, multiple backups, stored in different locations, some with trusted lawyers who will release them if anything happens to me. Chukwuemeka can't destroy all of them. Relief flooded through me. Thank God. But Adanna, you need to disappear for a few days. Let me and your lawyer handle the next steps. These criminal complaints we're filing. Once they're submitted, you become the primary witness. If something happens to you before then, everything falls apart. Do you understand what I'm saying? You think he'd actually hurt me? I think a man who would forge medical records and stage a fake assault is capable of anything. Please, trust me on this. After I hung up, Femi made a call to someone he knew, a colleague who had a house in Betrayal, far enough from Lagos to be safe, close enough that he could reach me if needed. You'll go there tonight, he said. Stay offline, stay quiet. I'll file everything tomorrow morning. Within 48 hours, Chukwuemeka will be the one answering to police, to courts, to criminal investigators. But until then, you need to be invisible. The house in Betrayal was small and simple, right on the beach where I could hear waves crashing in the darkness. I'd left my phone with Kamara, too easy to track, and taken a new burner phone with only 3 numbers programmed into it. Femi, Kamara, and Zainab. I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like a threat. I kept thinking about that message painted on Kamara's wall, about the broken lock, about how easily they got into my sister's home. At 2 a.m., the burner phone rang. Kamara's voice was breathless with panic. Adanna, something's happened. Something terrible. What? What is it? It's Ngozi. She's in the hospital. Someone attacked her outside her apartment tonight. She's alive, but barely. They beat her badly, Adanna, and they left a message with her. My heart stopped. What message? They told her to tell you. This is what happens to people who betrayed Chukwuemeka. They said you're next. I sank onto the floor, the phone pressed to my ear, unable to speak. Ngozi, terrible, unfaithful Ngozi who'd slept with my husband, had tried to warn me, and now she was in the hospital because of it. There's more, Kamar continued. The police are saying it might have been a robbery gone wrong. But Adanna, her purse was still there. Her jewelry. They didn't take anything. This was a message. Is she going to be okay? The doctors don't know yet. She has a skull fracture and internal bleeding. They're operating now. Kamara's voice cracked. Adanna, you need to stay hidden. If he'd do this to his own mistress, imagine what he'd do to you. After we hung up, I sat in the darkness of that beach house, listening to the waves and thinking about everything that had led to this moment, about the woman I'd been at that wedding just days ago. Embarrassed, heartbroken, but still believing in some kind of justice, some kind of fairness. That woman was gone now. In her place was someone harder, colder, more dangerous. Someone who understood that men like Chukwuemeka didn't respond to lawyers and courts and proper procedure. They responded to power, to fear, to being beaten at their own game. I picked up the burner phone and called Zainab. I need you to do something for me, I said when she answered. Something that might be illegal, something that will definitely be dangerous, but something that will end this once and for all. There was a pause, and I'm listening. Tomorrow, when Femi files a criminal complaint, I want you to also leak everything to the media, not just the tax evasion and the contraband smuggling. Everything. His affairs, his forged documents, his threats, his connections to corrupt officials. I want every news outlet in Lagos to have the full story by tomorrow afternoon. Adanna, that will destroy him completely. His business, his reputation, his family's name. Good. That's what I want. Complete destruction. The same thing he wanted from me. His family will retaliate. They'll come after you harder than ever. Let them try. Because here's what else I want you to do. I want you to contact every woman Chukwuemeka has ever hurt, ever manipulated, ever betrayed. I know there are others besides us. Men like him don't change their patterns. Find them. Get their stories. And we're going to create something he can't fight. An army of witnesses, all speaking out at once, all telling the truth about who he really is. Zainab laughed, and it was the sound of a woman who finally saw a path to justice. You've changed, Adanna. The woman I met at that cafe a few days ago wouldn't have suggested this. That woman hadn't watched her best friend get beaten into a coma for trying to warn her. That woman still thought the system would protect her. I watched the dark ocean through the window. I'm not that woman anymore. Then let's burn his world down, Zainab said. Together. But as I hung up, I heard something outside, the crunch of footsteps on the sand path leading to the house. My body went cold with fear. Someone had found me. I grabbed the closest thing I could use as a weapon, a heavy flashlight, and moved toward the back door, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. The front door handle turned slowly, and then a voice called out, familiar and terrifying, "Adanna, I know you're in there. We need to talk." It was Chukwuemeka. He'd found me. No way. How did Chukwuemeka find her? What's going to happen now? If you're on the edge of your seat, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Comment below. Should Adanna run or confront him? What would you do? And don't forget to like this video and share it with anyone who loves intense drama. We're just getting started. My mind went blank with terror. The flashlight felt heavy and useless in my shaking hands. Chukwuemeka's voice came again through the door, calm and measured, which somehow made it more frightening. "Adanna, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm alone. I just want to talk. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking." Every instinct screamed at me to run, to call for help, to do anything but open that door. But the rational part of my brain knew I couldn't outrun him on this isolated beach. The nearest neighbor was half a kilometer away. If he wanted to hurt me, running would only delay the inevitable. I moved the window and peered out carefully. In the moonlight, I could see Chukwuemeka standing alone on the porch, hands visible at his sides, wearing expensive casual clothes that looked absurd in this simple beach setting. No one else appeared to be with him. "How did you find me?" I called through the door. "I put a tracker on your car months ago. When you switched phones, I knew you'd run, but the car led me here." His voice carried no anger, just a tired resignation that unsettled me more than rage would have. "Please, Adanna, I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to offer you something, a way out that benefits us both." Against every reasonable thought, I cracked the door open, keeping the flashlight raised and my phone, with an emergency button ready, in my other hand. If he made one wrong move, I'd scream and call for help simultaneously. Chukwuemeka looked different than I'd ever seen him. His usually immaculate appearance was disheveled, shirt wrinkled, eyes red and exhausted, the confident businessman I'd married replaced by someone who looked genuinely desperate. "You have 3 minutes," I said. "Say what you came to say." He ran a hand over his face. "I know about Zainab. I know about the evidence she gave you. I know you're planning to file criminal charges tomorrow and leak everything to the media." My stomach dropped. How much did he know? How deep did his surveillance go? "I have people everywhere, Adanna. You should know that by now." He leaned against the porch railing, and for a moment, he looked almost vulnerable. "But here's what you don't know. If you go through with this, you won't destroy just me. You'll destroy dozens of innocent people. My employees, good people with families who depend on those jobs. My mother, who has a heart condition and won't survive the shame. My brother Obiora, who runs his own legitimate business, but shares our family name. Even Ngozi's family will suffer when her affair becomes public knowledge. Ngozi is in the hospital because of you." I said coldly, "Don't you dare use her as leverage." His face flickered with something. Surprise? Guilt? I had nothing to do with that. "I swear to you, Adanna, when I heard about the attack, I was as shocked as anyone. I would never—" He stopped, seeming to realize how ridiculous that sounded given everything else he'd done. "Then who did it? I don't know. Maybe it was a robbery. Maybe it was someone from my family who acted without my knowledge. My mother has connections I don't always control, people who are overly protective." He stepped closer, and I raised the flashlight warningly. He stopped. "But that's exactly my point. This situation is spiraling out of control. People are getting hurt. More people will get hurt if you continue down this path. So what are you proposing? That I just forget everything? Forget that you cheated on me, humiliated me, try to have me arrested? No, I'm proposing a deal." He pulled out an envelope from his jacket. "I give you everything you wanted from the divorce. The house, it's yours, fully paid off, title transferred. 2 million naira in cash. Half of my legitimate business assets. And I'll sign a confession admitting the psychiatric records were forged, which you can use to clear your name with your school." I stared at him. "In exchange for what?" "In exchange for you dropping the criminal charges. keeping Zainab's evidence private, letting me quietly wind down the illegal parts of my business and rebuild legitimately. We go our separate ways, and in 6 months, we're just another divorced couple in Lagos. No media circus. No destroyed lives. You're asking me to let you get away with everything. I'm asking you to take your freedom and your future and leave the revenge behind. His voice grew more urgent. Think about it, Adanna. What do you really gain by destroying me? Satisfaction? Justice? Those things don't pay your bills or give you your career back or heal the pain I caused. But 2 million naira and a house in Lekki? Those things give you a fresh start, a real future. Part of me wanted to laugh at his audacity. Part of me wanted to throw the flashlight at his head. But another part, a tired, scared part that had barely slept in days, wondered if he was right. Would destroying Chukwuemeka really make me whole again? Or would it just trap me forever in this cycle of revenge and counter-revenge? I need time to think, I said. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, Zainab and your lawyer will have already started the process, and it'll be too late for either of us to control what happens. He placed the envelope on the porch railing. Read the papers. They're all legally binding. My lawyer drew them up tonight. Everything I promised is in there. Why now? Why are you suddenly willing to give me what I wanted all along? For the first time, Chukwuemeka's mask cracked completely. His voice turned raw. Because I'm tired, Adanna. I'm tired of fighting, tired of lying, tired of being the villain in everyone's story. You think I wanted any of this? I loved you when we got married. I did. But somewhere along the way, I became someone I don't recognize. Someone who hurts people and justifies it and keeps digging deeper into the hole. You cheated on me for 2 years. I know. You tried to destroy my reputation, my career, my sanity. I know. You had your own mother tell me I was dead to the family. I know. His voice broke. I know what I did, Adanna. All of it. And I can't undo any of it. But I can stop it from getting worse. I can give you the resources to rebuild your life and then get out of your way. Isn't that what you really want? For me to just disappear? I looked at this man I'd once loved, this man who destroyed everything good between us, and realized I didn't know what I wanted anymore. Revenge had seemed so clear when I was planning it with Zainab. But now, standing here in the middle of the night with Chukwuemeka, looking broken and desperate, nothing felt clear at all. Leave, I said quietly. Leave the envelope and go. I'll call you in the morning with my decision. He nodded, started to walk away, then turned back. For what it's worth, Adanna, I am sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I am. After he left, I sat on the porch with the envelope in my lap, listening to his car drive away into the night. I didn't open it. Not yet. Instead, I called Kamara. Did he hurt you? She demanded immediately. No. He offered me a deal. Everything we wanted from the divorce in exchange for dropping the criminal charges. There was a long silence. What are you thinking? I'm thinking I don't know what justice looks like anymore. Is it destroying him completely? Is it taking what I need and walking away? Is it letting the courts handle it? I genuinely don't know. Kamara, what does your gut tell you? I thought about Ngozi in the hospital, about Zainab, who'd waited 6 years for revenge, about Dr. Okonkwo, who'd risked his reputation to help me, about all the other women Chukwuemeka had probably hurt over the years, women whose stories would never be told if I took his deal and stayed quiet. My gut tells me that if I take this deal, I become complicit in letting a dangerous man continue operating in the world. But my head tells me that I'm exhausted, scared, and maybe practical justice is better than perfect justice. Then sleep on it, Kamara said gently. Make the decision in the morning when your mind is clear. But I couldn't sleep. I paced that small beach house until dawn, the envelope sitting unopened on the kitchen table like a snake waiting to strike. At 6 a.m., I finally tore it open and read the documents. Chukwuemeka hadn't lied. Everything was there, the house deed, bank transfers, business asset divisions, even a notarized confession about the psychiatric records. It was more than I'd dare hope for when I first walked out of that wedding reception. At 7 a.m., my burner phone rang. It was Femi. Adanna, we have a problem. A major problem. My heart sank. What now? Ngozi died an hour ago. Internal bleeding they couldn't stop. And the police are now calling it a murder investigation. They want to question everyone connected to her, which means they'll want to question you, Chukwuemeka, everyone who was at that wedding. This changes everything. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Ngozi, annoying, unfaithful, complicated Ngozi, was dead. And suddenly Chukwuemeka's offer felt less like a business deal and more like a confession that he knew exactly who was responsible for her death. Femi, I need to tell you something. Chukwuemeka came to see me last night. He offered me a deal. What? His voice exploded through the phone. Adanna, that's illegal. That's witness tampering. He claims he didn't know about the attack on Ngozi. But Femi, what if he's lying? What if accepting his deal means helping cover up a murder? The line went silent for a long moment. When Femi spoke again, his voice was hard. Here's what we do. You come back to Lagos immediately. We tell the police about Chukwuemeka's visit and his offer. We use it as more evidence against him. And we move forward with everything. The criminal charges, the media exposure, all of it. Because Adanna, Ngozi is dead. This isn't about divorce or revenge anymore. This is about justice for a murdered woman. He was right. I knew he was right. But as I packed my few belongings and prepared to drive back to Lagos, I couldn't shake the memory of Chukwuemeka's face last night. The exhaustion, the apparent sincerity, the desperate plea for a way out. Had he been lying? Or was he really just a broken man trying to end a war before anyone else got hurt? My phone buzzed with a text from Zainab. Heard about Ngozi. I'm moving forward with the media leaks this morning. Once this goes public, there's no going back. Last chance to stop it if you're having doubts. I stared at that message for 5 full minutes, my thumb hovering over the reply button. Everything I did next would determine not just my future, but potentially Chukwuemeka's freedom, his family's fate, and the truth about what happened to Ngozi. I typed 3 words. Do it, everything. Then I got in my car and started the long drive back to Lagos, not knowing that by the time I arrived, the entire city would be talking about the scandal, not knowing that Chukwuemeka's family would be gathering their lawyers and their allies for a counterattack that would make everything that had come before look like a gentle warm-up, and not knowing that the real twist in this story, the revelation that would change everything I thought I knew, was still waiting to be discovered. Because when I finally made it back to Kamar's apartment that afternoon, there was a woman waiting for me in the lobby, a woman I'd never seen before, holding a folder and wearing an expression that told me my problems had just gotten infinitely more complicated. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, she said, my name is Detective Amaka Obi. I need to ask you some questions about your husband's business partner, the one who was murdered 3 months ago, the murder that was never solved. The world tilted sideways. What are you talking about? I whispered. What murdered business partner? Detective Obi opened her folder, and I saw a photograph of a man I'd never seen before. His name was Emeka Danjuma. He and your husband were partners in the logistics company. Then 3 months ago, Mr. Danjuma threatened to go to the authorities about the illegal operations. 1 week later, he was found dead in his car, made to look like suicide. We've been building a case ever since. She looked at me with cold, assessing eyes. And Mrs. Chukwuemeka, I have evidence that suggests you might have known about it, which means you might be an accessory to murder. What? A murder? Did you see that coming? This story just went to a whole other level. If you're as shocked as I am, like and subscribe because what's coming next is going to blow your mind. Comment below. Do you think Adanna knew about the murder? Is Chukwuemeka setting her up again? Share your theories. This is getting insane. The folder hit the coffee table with a sound like a gunshot. Inside were photographs, a man slumped in a car, police reports, and worst of all, bank statements highlighting transfers from an account with my name on it. I don't know who that man is, I said, my voice shaking. I've never seen him before in my life. Detective Obi sat across from me in Kamar's living room, her expression unreadable. Femi sat beside me, his lawyer instincts already in overdrive, but even he looked rattled. According to our investigation, Emeka Danjuma was poisoned with a rare substance that causes heart failure, designed to look like natural causes. But the autopsy revealed the truth. She pulled out another document. 3 days before his death, 50,000 naira was transferred from your joint account to a man named Tunbekere, a known criminal with connections to contract killings. The transfer was made online, using your login credentials. That's impossible. I don't even know the login for that account. Chukwuemeka handles all our business finances. Exactly, Detective Obi said quietly, which is why I'm here talking to you instead of arresting you. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, I don't think you killed anyone. I think your husband set you up as insurance. If anyone ever discovered the murder, you'd be the perfect scapegoat. Your name on the account, your digital fingerprints on the transfer, your history of mental instability according to those forged medical records. The room spun around me. All this time, I thought the worst Chukwuemeka had done was cheat on me and try to destroy my reputation. But he'd been planning something far more sinister, framing me for murder if his illegal business ever came to light. Why are you telling me this? Femi asked suspiciously. Why not just arrest her? Because I want Chukwuemeka, not her. And I think Mrs. Chukwuemeka has information that could help me build an airtight case. Detective Obi leaned forward. I've been investigating your husband for 6 months. The contraband smuggling, the tax evasion, the bribery, all of that is enough to put him away for years. But murder? Murder is life imprisonment. Murder is justice for Emeka Danjuma's family. And murder is what I need your help to prove. What kind of help? I asked. I need you to go back to him, accept his deal, get close enough to find evidence linking him directly to Danjuma's death. With your cooperation and testimony, we can... Absolutely not, Femi interrupted. You're asking my client to put herself in danger, to potentially obstruct justice by accepting an illegal settlement, and to act as an undercover agent without protection or guarantees. That's not happening. Then your client remains a suspect in a murder investigation, Detective Obi said flatly. Those bank records exist. That transfer exists. If I can't prove Chukwuemeka framed her, a prosecutor might decide she was complicit. At minimum, she'd face charges for accessory after the fact. You're blackmailing her into helping you, Femi said. I'm giving her a chance to prove her innocence while bringing a murderer to justice. There's a difference. Detective Obi turned back to me. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, I've read your file. I know what he's done to you, the cheating, the manipulation, the forged records. But this goes beyond personal betrayal. Emeka Danjuma had 3 children. His wife is raising them alone, believing her husband committed suicide, that he abandoned them. Don't you want to give them the truth? I thought about those 3 children growing up thinking their father hadn't loved them enough to stay alive. I thought about Ngozi, dead in a hospital because she tried to warn me. I thought about all the other lives Chukwuemeka had destroyed in his wake. If I do this, I said slowly, I need guarantees. I need protection. And I need your promise that when this is over, I walk away free. Adanna, don't agree to anything yet, Femi warned. Let me negotiate. No. I stood up, surprising myself at the firmness in my voice. Femi, you've been amazing, but this is my decision. If I can help stop Chukwuemeka from hurting anyone else, if I can give that family closure, then I have to try. Detective Obi pulled out a recording device. Then let's talk about what happens next. 2 hours later, I was wired with a recording device hidden in my bra, sitting in my car outside Chukwuemeka's office building in Victoria Island. The plan was simple but terrifying. I would tell him I was accepting his deal, get him talking about the business, and try to steer the conversation toward Emeka Danjuma. Detective Obi and her team would be listening from a van parked 3 blocks away. Remember, Detective Obi's voice came to my earpiece. Don't push too hard. Let him feel like he's won. Men like Chukwuemeka love to brag when they think they're in control. Give him that feeling, and he might reveal more than he intends. My hands shook as I entered the building. The receptionist recognized me, confusion flickering across her face. Everyone in Lagos knew about the wedding scandal by now, but she let me pass when I said Chukwuemeka was expecting me. I wasn't expecting him, but Detective Obi had sent a message from a burner phone claiming I was ready to talk. Chukwuemeka's office was on the 15th floor, all glass and chrome and expensive furniture that screamed success. He stood when I entered, surprise and wariness mixed on his face. Adanna, I didn't think you'd actually come. I read your papers. I want to accept the deal. The words felt like acid in my mouth. His shoulders relaxed slightly. That's good. That's the smart choice for both of us. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sit. Let's finalize everything. As I sat, I noticed how different this office felt from our home. Here, Chukwuemeka was in his element, powerful, confident, surrounded by the evidence of his business success. Family photos lined credenza behind his desk, including one of us on our wedding day, both smiling like we believed in forever. Before I sign anything, I said carefully, I need to understand something. This illegal business you're running, the contraband, the tax evasion, when did it start? Was it always part of the company? Chukwuemeka's eyes narrowed slightly. Why does that matter? Because I need to know what I'm agreeing to stay quiet about. If there are more crimes, more secrets that could come back on me later, I need to know now. He studied me for a long moment, then seemed to decide I was simply being paranoid rather than suspicious. It started about 4 years ago. My business partner, Emeka, suggested we could increase profits by avoiding certain customs fees. It seemed harmless at first. Everyone in Lagos bends the rules a little. But then it grew into something bigger. What happened to Emeka? I remember you mentioning a partner when we first got married, but then you stopped talking about him. Chukwuemeka's face went carefully blank. We had a falling out. He left the company. Just like that? After building the business together? Adanna, why are you asking about this? His voice had taken on an edge. I forced myself to stay calm, to remember Detective Obi's instructions. Don't push too hard. I'm sorry. I'm just nervous about signing these papers. About whether there are other things I don't know about that could explode later. You understand, don't you? After everything that's happened? His expression softened. You're right to be cautious. But I promise you, Adanna, once we sign these papers and you drop the criminal complaints, you're protected. Whatever happened with my business stays with me. You walk away clean. What if someone from your past business dealings comes forward? What if there are people who could implicate me in things I didn't even know about? That won't happen. His voice was firm, almost too firm. I've made sure of that. Everyone involved has been taken care of. My blood ran cold. Taken care of how? Chukwuemeka stood abruptly, walking to the window. You're asking too many questions, Adanna. The deal is simple. You get what you want, I get what I want, we both move on. If you're to sign, then sign. If not, then we're wasting each other's time. I'd pushed too far. I could feel him closing down, the opportunity slipping away. I needed to salvage this somehow. I'm sorry, I said, standing and moving toward him. You're right. I'm just scared. Scared of making another mistake. Scared of trusting the wrong person again. I let my voice break slightly. I trusted Ngozi, and look what happened. She's dead. Chukwuemeka, dead, because she got caught up in our mess. That wasn't supposed to happen, he said quietly, still facing the window. Ngozi was never supposed to get hurt. But she did, and whoever hurt her is still out there. No, the word came out sharp. They're not. I froze. What do you mean? Chukwuemeka turned to face me, and something in his eyes made my skin crawl. I mean, the person who hurt Ngozi has been dealt with. They went too far, and I made sure they understood that was unacceptable. Who is it? Who hurt her? It doesn't matter now. They won't hurt anyone else. He moved closer, and every instinct screamed at me back away. But I held my ground. Adanna, you need to understand something. I do what's necessary to protect what's mine. I always have. When Emeka threatened to destroy the business I built, I did what was necessary. When someone hurt Ngozi without my permission, I did what was necessary. And if you threaten to destroy my life, my family's name, everything I work for, I'll do what's necessary then too. The recording device against my chest suddenly felt like it was burning. He was confessing, not directly, but enough for Detective Obi to build a case. But he was also threatening me. And we were alone on the 15th floor, with the security guards outside, with nobody who would question if I accidentally fell out a window. "I'm not threatening you," I said, backing toward the door. "I came here to accept your deal, remember?" "Did you?" His voice was cold now. "Or did you come here to gather evidence? Tell me, Adanna, are you recording this conversation?" My heart stopped. "What? No, He moved faster than I expected, grabbing my arm and pulling me toward him. His hand went to my collar, searching for a wire. "Don't lie to me. I can see it in your eyes. You're working with someone. Police? That detective who came to see you." His grip tightened, painful now. "Who put you up to this?" "Nobody. You're hurting me." The office door burst open. Detective Obi rushed in with 2 uniformed officers, guns drawn. "Let her go, Mr. Chukwuemeka. Now." Chukwuemeka released me so quickly I stumbled. His face cycled through shock, rage, and finally cold calculation. "You're making a mistake," he said to Detective Obi. "I'm a respected businessman. I know the police commissioner personally. I know judges. Whatever you think you have on me, we have your confession to murdering Emeka Danjuma and ordering the assault on Ngozi Ease," Detective Obi said. "We have evidence of tax evasion, smuggling, bribery, and attempted witness tampering. And we have your threat to harm your wife, which we all just witnessed." She nodded to the officers. "Arrest him." As they handcuffed Chukwuemeka, he looked at me with such hatred that I actually took a step back. "You'll regret this," he said quietly. "My family will make sure you regret this for the rest of your life." "Your family is about to have bigger problems," Detective Obi said. "We've been executing search warrants on all your properties and business locations for the past hour. Your mother's house, your brother's office, everything. If they're complicit in any of this, they're going down too." They led him away, and suddenly I was alone with Detective Obi in that huge office, my whole body shaking with delayed terror. "You did well," she said gently. "I know that was terrifying, but you got him." He confessed. "He was going to hurt me. If you hadn't come in, we were monitoring the entire time. We would never have let him actually harm you." She guided me to a chair. "Sit. Breathe. It's over." But it wasn't over, because as I sat there trying to process what had just happened, Detective Obi's phone rang. She answered, listened, and her face went pale. "What?" I asked. "What is it?" She hung up slowly. "That was my team at Chukwuemeka's house. They found something that changes everything we thought we knew about this case." "What did they find?" Detective Obi looked at me with something like pity. "Evidence that Ngozi Ease didn't die from the beating. The autopsy report was preliminary, but they've now completed full toxicology. She was poisoned, Adanna, the same poison that killed Emeka Danjuma, and the poison was administered at least 12 hours before the beating." My mind reeled. What does that mean? It means the beating was a cover-up. Someone poisoned her, then staged the assault to make it look like she died from trauma. "And Mrs. Chukwuemeka," she paused, clearly reluctant to continue. "The poison was found in a bottle of wine. Expensive wine. The same brand that was purchased on your credit card 3 days ago." The room tilted. No, I didn't buy any wine. I haven't used that card in weeks. Someone used your card. Someone who knew Ngozi would drink that wine. Someone who wanted her dead and wanted you to take the fall for it. Detective Obi's eyes were hard now, professional, which means either Chukwuemeka is even smarter than we thought, or there's someone else involved in this. Someone we haven't identified yet. Who? That's what we need to figure out. Because, Adanna, until we do, you're still a suspect in Ngozi's murder. And this time, I don't know if I can protect you. I can't even. Who is behind all of this? Just when you think you know what's happening, boom, another twist. If you're as shook as I am right now, smash that like button. They released me after 6 hours of questioning, but only because Femi threatened to sue the entire police department for harassment. Detective Obi made it clear. I was a person of interest in Ngozi's murder, and I wasn't to leave Lagos. I sat in Kamar's apartment that night, staring at credit card statements on my laptop. 3 days before Ngozi's death, someone had used my card to purchase a bottle of Chateau Margaux, expensive French wine that cost over 200,000 naira. The purchase was made online, shipped to an address I'd never heard of in Surulere. Who has access to your card? Femi asked, pacing the living room. Only Chukwuemeka. We have joint accounts, joint cards. He could have easily. But he's in custody, Kamar interrupted. He couldn't have administered the poison himself, which means he has an accomplice. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You should have taken the deal. Now everyone you love will pay. Starting with your sister. Ice flooded my veins. Kamara, get away from the windows. Now. What? Why? The apartment's front window exploded inward. Glass rained down as we screamed and dove for cover. Through the shattered window, I could see a car speeding away into the Lagos night. Femi was already calling the police, but I was thinking about that text message. Everyone you love will pay. Not everyone you loved. Love. Present tense. And suddenly, with horrible clarity, I understood. It's not Chukwuemeka, I whispered. It never was. Not the poison. Not Ngozi's murder. He's terrible, but he's not smart enough to plan something this elaborate. Then who? Kamara demanded, blood trickling from a cut on her arm from the flying glass. I pulled up my phone contacts, scrolling to a name I'd called so many times over the past week. A name that had appeared at every crucial moment, always offering help, always pushing me toward more dramatic action, more complete revenge. Zainab. She was there from the beginning. I said slowly, pieces clicking into place. She gave me the evidence against Chukwuemeka, evidence she'd supposedly held on to for 6 years. But why wait so long? Why not use it when he first hurt her? Because she was waiting for the perfect scapegoat. Femi said, his lawyer brain catching up. She was waiting for you. My hand shook as I dialed Detective Obi. She answered immediately. Mrs. Chukwuemeka, are you safe? We got reports of... Zainab Abdullahi, I interrupted. Check her connection to Emeka Danjuma. Check if she knew him before he died. Why would... Just check. Please. 10 minutes later, Detective Obi called back. You were right. Zainab Abdullahi and Emeka Danjuma were cousins, close cousins. And according to Danjuma's widow, Zainab blamed Chukwuemeka for her cousin's death, but could never prove anything. Everything made terrible sense now. Zainab hadn't been helping me out of solidarity. She'd been using me as a weapon, positioning me to destroy Chukwuemeka while she took care of loose ends. Like Ngozi, who might have known too much, who might have revealed things about Chukwuemeka's business that would have complicated Zainab's revenge plan. She bought the wine with my card, I said. She must have stolen my information when we met at the cafe. She poisoned Ngozi and framed both me and Chukwuemeka. She wanted us both destroyed. Where is she now? I don't know. But detective, she just threatened my sister. She's coming after everyone I love. You need to find her. They found Zainab 3 hours later, trying to board a flight to Dubai at Murtala Muhammad International Airport. In her luggage, they discovered another bottle of the same poison, along with detailed plans. Plans that included eliminating me, Kamara, and several others who might complicate her revenge against Chukwuemeka's family. In the interrogation room, Zainab showed no remorse. Emeka was like a brother to me, she told Detective Obi while I watched through one-way glass. Chukwuemeka murdered him and made it look like suicide. Emeka's children grew up thinking their father abandoned them. So I decided Chukwuemeka's world should burn, his business, his marriage, his reputation, his freedom, everything. And Ngozi? Detective Obi asked. Collateral damage. She knew things about Chukwuemeka's business operations that would have weakened the criminal case. I needed the case to be strong, ironclad, and I needed someone to take the fall for her murder if the poisoning was discovered. Adanna was perfect, already in a bitter divorce, already making accusations, already looking unstable thanks to Chukwuemeka's forged records. Listening to her clinical description of using me, I felt sick. This woman I'd trusted, who I thought understood my pain, she'd seen me as nothing more than a convenient tool. What about the attack on Mrs. Chukwuemeka's sister's apartment? Detective Obi continued. A warning. She was getting too close to the truth. I needed her scared, compliant, willing to follow my lead. Zainab smiled coldly, but she surprised me. She's stronger than I expected. Stronger than Chukwuemeka ever deserved. The trial took 8 months. Chukwuemeka was convicted of murdering Emeka Danjuma, along with multiple counts of fraud, tax evasion, and smuggling. He got 30 years in prison. Zainab was convicted of murdering Ngozi and conspiring to murder me and others. Life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Chukwuemeka's family businesses collapsed under the scandal. His mother suffered the heart attack he predicted, though she survived. Obiora cut all ties with the family name, changing it and moving his legitimate business operations to Abuja. As for me, the courts cleared me of all accusations. The school reinstated me with back pay and a formal apology. And Chukwuemeka's settlement, the house, the money, all of it, became mine free and clear since the criminal proceedings superseded our divorce arrangements. I sold the house in Lekki. Too many memories, too much pain. Instead, I bought a smaller place in Ikoyi near Kamar's apartment. I started a foundation for women escaping abusive marriages, using part of the settlement money to fund legal support and counseling. Dr. Okonkwo became the foundation's medical director. He said helping me had reminded him why he became a doctor in the first place, to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. 6 months after the trials ended, I was sitting in my new living room when Kamar brought in the mail. Among the bills and advertisements was a letter from prison, from Chukwuemeka. I almost threw it away unopened, but something made me read it. Adanna, I know I have no right to write to you, no right to ask for your attention or your time. But I need you to know something. I didn't understand what love was when I married you. I thought it was about possession, about having someone fulfill a role in my life. I treated you like an acquisition, like another business asset to manage and control. I've had a lot of time to think in here, about the man I became, about the people I hurt, about how I let my pride and my need for control destroy everything good in my life. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it away. I threw you away, and then I tried to destroy you for having the courage to leave. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that watching you fight back, watching you refuse to be broken, that taught me more about strength than any business success ever did. The irony is that I lost everything because I was so determined not to lose anything. And you, who lost everything first, ended up with a real future, a real life, freedom. I hope you find someone who deserves you, who sees you the way I should have seen you from the beginning, who builds you up instead of tearing you down. I'm sorry, Adanna, for all of it. Chukwuemeka. I read the letter 3 times, then folded it carefully and placed it in a drawer. Not forgiveness. I wasn't sure I'd ever get there, but maybe acknowledgement, maybe a small piece of closure. Are you okay? Kamara asked, watching my face. I think I am, I said, surprised to realize it was true. For the first time in years, I actually am. A year later, I stood in front of a room full of women at the Foundation's first annual conference. Women who'd escaped domestic violence, infidelity, manipulation, and abuse. Women who thought they were broken beyond repair, just like I had. My story isn't special, I told them. What happened to me happens to countless women every day in Lagos, in Nigeria, across Africa, and around the world. Men who see wives as possessions. Families who blame women for men's failures. Systems designed to protect the powerful instead of the vulnerable. But here's what I learned. Revenge isn't about destroying the person who hurt you. Real revenge is refusing to let them destroy you. It's building a life so full and rich and meaningful that their betrayal becomes just a chapter in your story, not the whole book. I walked into that wedding reception a year and a half ago, and I watched my husband touch another woman. In that moment, I thought my life was over. But it wasn't over. It was just beginning. The revenge they didn't expect wasn't me taking everything in the divorce. Though I did that. It wasn't me exposing their crimes. Though I did that too. The revenge they never expected was me becoming someone better, stronger, more complete than I ever was when I was trying to be who they wanted me to be. So to every woman here who feels broken, who feels like she'll never recover, who feels like betrayal has destroyed her, I promise you it hasn't. You are stronger than you know. And your story isn't over. It's just beginning. The applause was deafening. After I stepped off the stage, a young woman approached me, tears streaming down her face. "My husband is cheating on me," she whispered. "His family knows, and they tell me to be quiet, to be a good wife. I don't know what to do." I took her hands in mine. "You do know. Deep down, you already know. And when you're ready, we'll be here to help you. All of us. Because you're not alone anymore." She hugged me, and I felt something shift inside my chest. This, helping other women find their strength. This was the real victory. Not Chukwuemeka in prison. Not Zainab's life sentence. Not even the money or the house or my clear name. This feeling of purpose, of connection, of transforming pain into power. That was a revenge they never expected. That evening, I met Kamara for dinner at a restaurant in Victoria Island. We were laughing about something, enjoying wine and jollof rice, when a man approached our table. "Excuse me," he said, his voice gentle. "Are you Adanna Okafor? I heard you speak at the conference today." I tensed automatically, still not fully comfortable with strangers approaching me, but his face was kind, open. "I am. Can I help you?" "I just want to say thank you. My sister was in an abusive marriage for 7 years. Your foundation helped her leave, helped her get back on her feet. She's thriving now. She's happy. And it's because of the work you do." His eyes were wet. "You saved her life. I needed you to know that." After he left, Kamara raised her glass. "To you, sister. To the woman who turned her worst betrayal into something beautiful." I clinked my glass against hers. To us. To all of us who refuse to stay broken. As we drank, I looked around the restaurant, at couples dining together, families laughing, people living their complicated, messy, beautiful lives, and I realized something profound. I was happy. Not happy in spite of everything that had happened. Happy because of it. Because the fire that had tried to destroy me had instead forged me into something stronger, clearer, more authentically myself. Chukwuemeka had humiliated me in front of his family at that wedding. He'd tried to break me, destroy me, erase me. But I was still here, still standing, still fighting, still building. And that, simply that, was the greatest revenge of all. Wow, what a journey, from that wedding reception to this moment. Adanna didn't just survive, she thrived. If this story moved you, if it inspired you, if it made you think about your own strength, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, Echoes of Africa, for more powerful stories like this. Drop a comment below. What was your favorite moment in Adanna's journey? Have you or someone you know dealt with domestic betrayal? Share your thoughts. This community is here to support each other. And here's my question for you. What would your revenge look like? Not destruction, but transformation. Not tearing someone down, but building yourself up. Comment below. #MyRevengeIsSuccess. Thank you so much for watching the 7-chapter journey with us. Remember, your story isn't over. No matter what you're facing right now, no matter how broken you feel, you are stronger than you know. And your greatest revenge is refusing to let anyone else's betrayal define your future. Until next time, this is Echoes of Africa reminding you, stay strong, stay fierce, and never, ever let them see you stay down. Like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Turn on those notifications because we have more incredible stories coming your way. Where are you watching from? Comment below with your city and country. I love seeing our global community come together.